Hey guys, hope everyone had a good weekend. And here we are in week, whatever this is of quarantine. Um, let's see, week 3, I think, because the fourth week was spring break, so we weren't going to be in school anyway. I don't know if you guys heard, they did make the announcements on AP exams, what they're going to be, and the dates. Um, they pushed everything back a week. So the tests that were going to be the first week of testing are now the second week. Our test, which was going to be the second week, is the third week. Micro will be on April 20th at 3 o'clock, and macro will be on April 21st at 3 o'clock. And they are doing just a 45-minute test. It's going to be two free response, open response questions, and from the main man in charge of AP, it is going to be open book, open notes. So you can have your book and your notes open when you're doing it. They're going to be open response questions. You'll have a certain amount of time to answer, and you can answer online, or they're going to allow you to answer on paper, take a picture of it, and submit it. So um, that's the information we have right now. I know Mr. Puckett's working on getting more information for everybody, but right now our test is micro April 20th, macro is April 21st. They're 45 minutes long. They're both going to be at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and they are open note, open book. But just remember, you still only have 45 minutes. And so we're going to finish up macro this week. We're going to do unit 3 today. I have you work on questions, and then unit 4. For the unit 3 review, I just, instead of doing it on a form, I shared you the questions. I gave you more questions for unit 3 because historically it's been the largest part of the test. It's been most of the questions have come from this. So there's 25 questions. I didn't do it a form. It's going to be sent as a Google form, guys. You'll each have a copy. Just go in and highlight what the right answer is, okay? And then you can share it with me. Or you'll still turn. I'll do it as a assignment where you can still turn it in, but you just highlight the right answer, and then we'll go over it in the video on Thursday. And Thursday we'll do unit 4, and then we'll be done with macro. And so next week we'll review micro. And they did cut micro down to just the first 4 units also, and it's going to be the same format: 45 minutes, open response, practice. So after we just go through some of these guys, we'll start doing some practice open response. Your attendance check for today is kind of like what I think an open response could be. So let me show you the question here. So the new stimulus plan is to introduce $250 billion in the stimulus checks to the American families. If the NPS of the United States is zero point 0.8, what will be the impact on this increase in spending by Congress? So what will be the impact on the government because Congress is spending another $250 billion? Explain what this should do to the Phillips curve. And then would the impact be the same, less than, or greater than a tax cut of the same value? So this is all Unit 3 stuff. This is all Unit 3 is aggregate supply demand, the spending multiplier, fiscal policy, um, and the Phillips curve. Unit 4 is money, banking, monetary policy, the Federal Reserve. Right. So this is all fiscal policy things. So this is the multipliers. You'll need to refresh yourself on the multipliers. And then unit 3 review, like I said, I'll send this as just the document. You'll just read the question, highlight the right answer, and then we'll go over it. Guys, I just need to see that you've worked on it. It's not right or wrong for your points on this one. And then, so what we do when we finish unit 4, I will give you like a big unassisted, like some open response questions, like 3 or 4 that I think could be like what they'll do on the test. And since the test is going to allow it to be open book, open note, I'm going to allow you to do open book, open note on it. But I'm going to write up 2 or 3 FRQs that I think they could ask for macro, and that was what we'll do on. That'll be due on Monday that first week. It'll be like a test, so I'll submit it that day. That needs to be done that day. That'll be your attendance check for that day, is if you turn the test in or not. And then we'll start working some on micro. Okay. So before we get too far in here, let's look at the unit 2 questions that I sent you guys. and just go through here and explain what I put as the right answer, what I think is the right answer. If we have any questions, excuse me, guys, please log in. I'll do a Google Meet tomorrow like I have been. It's been nice to see a lot of you. Guys, come in if you have questions. And if there are people just visiting and you actually have a question, log in. They have a little like new thing where you can click that you're raising your hand, and if you actually have a question, raise your hand and I'll stop everybody and we'll take care of your question. Okay. I want you guys to feel comfortable with this material. So that's what I know about the test right now. It is going to be 2 FRQs, but it will be open note, um, open book, and you can. He said you'll be able to answer it right on the question. You'll have to log. They're going to teach us how to log you in to something. You'll log in, or you can write it out. If you'd rather write, you can write your answer out, take a photograph of it, and you'll be able to submit it that way. So as more information comes available, I'll let you know about that. So, all right, Unit 2 here. First question, GDP is the equivalent to the sum of, and we worked on this the entire year in macro, GDP is SIGX, consumer spending, investment spending, government spending, and net exports. So the answer on that one was E. I did have someone ask me about why A was wrong. A is wrong because it says consumer spending, investment spending, government purchases, exports, and imports. It's not exports and imports, it's the net. It's exports minus imports. So it has to be the net export. And of course, for the United States, our net export is always negative. We import a whole lot more than we export. So our GDP could be higher if we didn't buy so much stuff from everyone else. And we're still the highest GDP in the world, so it's okay. All right. Number 2, which of the following would be included in the current year's calculation of GDP? So this is asking you what counts in GDP. Remember, it's new current year products or services produced inside the country's borders. So it has to be an American product made this year, right? So $50 cash earned but not reported by your neighbor for babysitting. Someone asked why that one wouldn't count. It would count if it was reported to the IRS, but since the question specifically says not reported, then it's not GDP. Income you earned as a lifeguard, yes, the salary you get paid for your job is GDP. It's business spending. The business is paying you for a service. And then the rest of these are not. Used cars cannot count. Vintage surfboard, so that means it's a used good. And the purchase of one company by another company. The company, in fact, was used. It had already been built. So none of those could count. It's just the income from lifeguarding. All right, which the following is true regarding nominal and real GDP? The answer is E. The only thing that can actually increase real GDP is if there is more output. Remember, nominal GDP is not adjusted for inflation. Real GDP is. So nominal can increase, but real GDP could actually decrease if there was less production, but the prices of everything went way up. So the only thing that actually can show an increase in real GDP is if a country produced more goods and services. Okay. All right. Assume CPI increases from 100 to 120 between 2004 and 2015. Which of the following must be true? And it's D. The average price of the specific market basket increased 20%. Remember how you calculate inflation: new minus old divided by old. So if CPI is 120 minus 100 over 100, I have a CPI of 20 over 100, which means I had 20% inflation. So that's what it's showing. That's what it's telling me. That goods went up. When I initially put this on there, I mistakenly marked C as the right answer, but it is actually D. Now, I don't know. It could have been that it was unanticipated inflation. They could have been expecting it. So it really couldn't be C. What we do know, which thing has to be true, is everything in the CPI market basket, the price of that stuff went up 20%. So there's 20% inflation. Right? Which of the following is most true regarding unanticipated inflation? So it's asking who's hurt or who's helped by it. So this one is saying, all right, so Roman numeral 1, workers with a fixed wage rate are hurt by unanticipated inflation. Yes, If you're getting a fixed wage and suddenly everything costs more, but your wage doesn't change, you're going to be hurt by inflation. 2, employers that charge fixed wages are hurt. No, if they're paying you a fixed wage and there's inflation, they're suddenly going to have a lot more money, and they're paying you they're paying your salary in money that's worth less than what they should be, so they're actually helped by it. 3, lenders with fixed rate loans are helped by unanticipated inflation. No. If you're a lender and you loan money and inflation happens and you have a fixed rate loan, you're actually hurt because you're getting paid back money worth less than you borrowed. And then 4, borrowers who have fixed rate loans are helped by unanticipated inflation. Yes, if you took out a loan on a fixed interest rate and there's suddenly a lot of inflation, you're paying your loan off with money that's cheaper than what you borrowed. So the right answer is B on that one. Right? A mechanic that leaves his job working on cars, currently looking for a job working on planes, is considered A, frictionally unemployed. So these are the types of unemployment. If you quit your job to go look for another one, you're frictionally unemployed. Nicole was laid off as a waitress because her restaurant closed down due to the slow economy. She is D, cyclically unemployed. Remember, if you lose your job because the economy's bad, it's cyclical. If you lose your job because the economy has changed somehow, so you were outsourced, replaced by a machine, whatever, that's structural unemployment. And then seasonally unemployed as you lost your job because the seasons changed. So lifeguard is seasonally unemployed. Remember the example of structurally unemployed I used was in the new Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the one with Johnny Depp as Willy Wonka. Charlie's dad loses his job as the toothpaste cap guy to a robot. That would be structural unemployment. Right? The official unemployment rate is not always the most accurate indicator of what's going on because the right answer is D. It does not include people that have given up looking for work. So it only counts. You're only unemployed if you're looking for work. All right, and then demand pull inflation is most likely to occur when there is an increase in consumer spending. This is when everyone's buying stuff and makes the price go up. And then the last one here, if an American student purchases a personal computer made by a Korean-owned company factory located in California, what would happen to the consumption and the GDP of the United States? All right. So an American student buys a computer that was made by a Korean-owned company's factory that was located in California. So what would happen? Consumption would increase because it is consumer spending. And so if C increases, will GDP increase? Yes, our GDP increased. Why? Where was the factory? The factory was in California. So even though it's a Korean-owned company, the computer itself was made in California, so that increases our GDP. So remember, it's where it's made. And the example I kept using in class was the big Toyota Tundra. The Toyota Tundra factory is in San Antonio because nobody in Toyota buys gigantic trucks just to drive around. The market for those is only in the United States. They put the factory here, so all the Toyota Tundras are actually made in the United States. So that helps our GDP. All right, so those are the 10 Unit 2 questions. And guys, please, if you have any questions or anything, if you're stuck on one, please log in and ask me, okay? When I post the video and I post the Unit 3 stuff, I'll put all the Unit 3 PowerPoints on there again. I think they're all on in Classroom, so I'll find them and move them back up to the top so they're easier for you guys to find. And then, guys, it's open note, open book. So I would suggest things that you're really just not all that sure of, start printing off some copies where you'll have them ready to go because you're not going to have time to scroll through your computer. Make yourself some notes. Make some note cards. We don't have a book. So the PowerPoints and your review sheets and all that, have them organized in such a way that you'll be able to go through them pretty quick and look over stuff when they do this. And since they're open response, guys, I'm going to assume since it's going to be short time, they're only giving you 2 questions. and they are allowing you open note and open book. They're going to be very specific questions probably, so you're going to need to give as much information as you can in the answers. I still don't know if they're going to make you draw graphs or not. I asked Mr. Puckett. He had a little sheet like questions, and I put on there if he could ask if you guys were going to be expected to, since it was on computer, if you're going to be expected to draw the graphs or just be able to explain what was going on in them. So as soon as I know all that, I'll share it with you guys. All right. So make sure you do your attendance check. And remember, this is due by 4 o'clock tomorrow or Monday. The Unit 3 review, you have until Wednesday to share it with me. And I will go over all of this like I just did. And this one will be a little longer to go over. I went ahead and gave you more questions on Unit 3 because I just feel like since they're narrowing it down to 2 questions, and this has always been the biggest part of the test. And usually 2 out of the 3 FRQs on the main test came from this unit. There was always an ASAD question. There was usually always a Phillips curve or loanable funds, money market, and there also usually was a foreign exchange market. But that's not going to be asked. That's Unit 5. So I feel like they're going to focus on this on Unit 2 the most. All right. On Unit 3. So that's why I went ahead and gave you more of the multiple choice questions here, and we'll go over it. It's been a little longer going over it. Guys, please log in and ask me any questions you have. If you get stuck on any of this, I really want you to understand this one. Phillips curve, ASAD, fiscal policy, and then the multipliers. All right. And I'll repost the PowerPoints also, so you have all of those at the top. Guys, you guys are doing, for the most part, most of you are doing a really good job of getting everything turned in. There are still some of you that I haven't seen a lot of work from. Guys, especially if you're seniors, I have to put these in as zeros if you don't turn them in, and everything still counts. And so you could still fail this class. And if you fail a semester of econ, then you don't meet your graduation requirement and you cannot graduate. So you need to pass this class. It is a required class. It's a requirement. It's a state graduation requirement that you pass macro and micro and personal finance. So all of you pass micro. Don't let up. I know it's hard. You're at home. There's lots of things going on, but please keep up with your work. And I know there's lots of stuff. You're getting a lot of different things. Guys, just get it turned into me, and it'll count. I'm not going to punish you for this since this is new for everybody, but I got to have you turn something in. Okay, you got to get it. You got to answer it. I don't mean like answer 2 questions and turn that in. Well, you could. I'll give you 2 points. Yay. But get your stuff done. Okay. I'd hate for any of you to end up not getting to get your diploma because you ended up failing these last 4 weeks when we were doing this homeschooling stuff. So make sure you stay on top of everything, and make sure you get your work turned in, especially when I say it's an unassisted assignment, which next Monday you'll have an unassisted assignment. That's got to be turned in. That's a test grade, and you know what a 0 on a test grade can do to your overall grade. Okay, so go through this Unit 3. Wednesday, I'll post the last unit for macro this time, which is Unit 4, the money market, Federal Reserve, loanable funds. If I were to bet, I bet they will take a question from Unit 3 and a question from Unit 4, but the Unit 3 one will probably be the big one. They're going to do a longer free response and a short free response. Okay, so, but just start working on Unit 3 here. I hope you guys had a great weekend. If you have any questions about the Unit 2 questions that I went over, if you need more explanation on why a right answer was a right answer or whatever, jump into Google Meets, the Google Meet tomorrow, and I hope to see a lot of you guys. I'll start the first one around 9:15, and for an hour, or I'm usually there for 90 minutes, so like till 10:45, 10:50, And then I usually do a shorter one, about 30 minutes in the afternoon, around 1 o'clock, 1:30, something like that. Just watch I always post it in Classroom when I'm going to be online. So just watch for it. Hope to see some of you guys and talk to some of you guys tomorrow. Hope you had a good weekend. Let's finish strong, guys. The test has really been shortened. You know it's only going to be over 4 units. You know it's open note, open book. So let's really buckle down on what I think is going to be the main stuff, which I think is going to be Unit 3. They're going to ask an ASAD question, and most likely, and then that's why I've given you more stuff on Unit 3. Or it's always been the most important one. All right. So I hope you guys had a good weekend, and I'll see some of you during our Google Meet sessions. See you later.